Welcome back to my channel. From the beginning, I have been explaining the Gnostic cosmos, in which we have the source, the god or the monad, and of course, a kind of heroine of the story is Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, and then we have her son Yaldabaoth. Yaldabaoth is the progenitor, archigenitor, because he created the archons. Archigenitor, meaning who created archons. So, when he created these archons, and later he created man, the earthly man, Adam and Eve, breathed life into them. What exactly the archons stand to gain from all this? What was their intention and what exactly they expected? Let me give you an example. We do poultry farming, meaning uh, we grow chicken in a farm. We provide food for the chicken, the light for the chicken, and of course the shelter for chicken. And we do the poultry farming. What do we get from poultry? Of course, we get meat from chicken and eggs. Right? That is why we do the poultry farming. Similarly, the archons did human farming, meaning they farmed humans. But you may say, in poultry farming, we get meat and eggs as the end result, and we use it for food. But these archons are not eating human beings, right? These archons are providing light, food, light, and everything. They are providing everything. What exactly they are getting in turn? That's a valid question, in fact. True that they are not getting, they are not eating humans. Like in many, uh, uh, what do you call, twisted mythologies, there were, I mean, demons who even were turned cannibals, especially in the third book of Enoch, I think. He mentions that the uh, fallen angels were attracted to um, human mm, females, and they produced offsprings called giants. And these giants were so violent that they fought among each other. They were of the size of a mountain, and after some time they started eating humans. So they say God killed them. With the flood, with the great flood, all the giant races were basically uh, all the giant races were basically removed from Earth. So so that too happened. In fact, they did turn into cannibals, but that was removed later. But now, after that, after the Great Flood, at least there were no cannibals. And why the Archons still do the human forming? The reason is, in the very first video, I have given the reason. After Yaldabaoth created the humans, he did not expect them to be so brilliant, so majestic, so beautiful that he was jealous of them. And he, uh, in fact, implemented a rule that don't go near the tree of knowledge. He created a lowly. He was so jealous of them that the humans were not on earth, they were in the Garden of Eden, which we can conclude uh, that it is somewhere in the area of Uranus, where the planet Uranus is. There, the Garden of Eden was once when it all started. But then he grew jealous of the humans and he pushed them. He created a much denser earth, much denser place called earth, and he has hidden a tree of knowledge from man so that he will never realize his divine roots. How was the man created? If you follow my videos, in the very first video about Gnostic Genesis, I told you that the Yalbath looked at the sky, he saw the projections of the gods on the border, and he wanted to create similar creatures here, and he did create humans, human body from Earth, from the five archons, the five archons of the abyss. I will explain about them again once again later. But so he one even after creating the body, it did not move. It did not get up. It did not move. It did not have life or spark of Sophia. So the god, since Sophia was already suffering a lot from Yaldabaoth because he was sucking away all her energy. He is her son, and her spark, life. Sophia is life, and that life he was sucking away. He was growing bigger and bigger. He was creating his own children who are archons, and the abyss. He created abyss, five lowly archons, seven planetary archons he created, and then it was becoming very difficult for Sophia to survive. She already fell to the abyss, and now it was getting difficult for her to retain her position in heaven. So Sophia requested Monad to control Yalbath. So what God Monad did was he sent a team of angels, a team of five, I think five angels. He sent them to Yalbath, and they tricked the Yalbath into breathing his own life into human being. They told him that, okay, you did well, you created the body, but you need to breathe into their face so that they can get life. So Yalbaz breathed his life into the body, and immediately the body arose. It was, excuse me, it was so radiant that he felt jealous, and he basically pushed this human being into a much denser place called Earth. And then on, he didn't want the human beings to. He implemented a rule saying that never go near the tree of knowledge, because if the humans know, that is the difference between humans and the gods. Gods know, have the discretionary power. They can differentiate between good and evil, whereas the humans cannot. So that is the tree of knowledge, knowing the difference between good and evil. Because once you know what is good, the humans will tend to go back to the good place and break away from this prison called earth. So they didn't. He told them, if you go anywhere near the tree of knowledge, you will die. So nobody dared, and humans from that day onwards have been ignorant and acting like batteries which recharge planets, which function like capacitors. He has been recycling human souls and making them take new body after scratching their memory. That's in a nutshell, that's what happened. And why I told you about this is the reason. This is what he has in it. When he is forming humans, the purpose behind forming humans is to create the energy. And let us say, for example, we have a cell phone, we have a laptop, we even TVs and all these gadgets, modern day gadgets. We need battery to run them, right? Provide energy to run these gadgets. Similarly, to power these archons, I mean, not power, or what I mean is to provide energy to these archons. This is the Yadabat guy. Who is the archgenitor? Archgenitor meaning these are the 7 planetary archons. These are the 5 archons of the abyss. So, to provide energy to these 7 archons and these 5 archons, he is he has created human beings. Okay, and how these human beings are supplying energy to these archons. Let us see. This is also from one of my earliest videos. This gives the split of 216. 216 is the sum of 5 cube, 4 cube and 3 cube. Yaldabaoth, Sun and Moon. 216. And this is the convention I use for planets. 1 square plus 1 is Mercury, 2 square plus 2 is Venus, 3 square plus 1 is Earth, 4 square plus 2 is Mars, 5 square plus 1 is Jupiter, 6 square plus 2 is Saturn, 7 square plus 1 is Uranus, 8 square plus 2 is Neptune. Why in certain places why there is 1, why there is 2 in certain places, you may ask. The reason why we need this 1 here is 1 by itself is not stable, plus 2, that is hydrogen is not stable atom, helium is stable, so 1 plus 1 is 2, that is why Mercury is 2, it has value 2. Whereas when it comes to 2 square, 4 square is not stable, even 5 is also not stable. 2 square, which is 4, is not stable, nor is 5. 5 is also not stable, but relatively 6 is stable. So you have to go for the next stable element because these are all solid bodies. So anyway, so he created using his energy, sun's energy and moon's energy, he created 8 archons. 1 square to 8 squared, 8 archons he created. So he has to supply energy to these archons, right? These are frequencies: 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, 4 squared, 5 squared, 6 squared, 7 squared, 8 squared are the frequencies, right? The energy is always in form of square. So those frequencies, he has to supply those frequencies to keep these 7 archons in position, and as well as the uh, keep the earth within the system, within the grid or matrix, what we call the Saturn matrix. So what he did, how he achieved that is the I told you the monad tricked Yaldabaoth into giving his life, sharing his life with human beings. So though he shared his life with human beings, he himself cannot become human being. Okay, so these human beings were living on this earth, There are two parts, as I just now explained: seven planetary archons and five archons of the abyss. Archons of the abyss. There is, I think, we have to go little backwards. We have discussed about Yaldabaoth so far. Yaldabaoth's head. This is Yaldabaoth's head, and here the moon is here and sun is here. So if you look at Yaldabaoth's picture, you can see that. I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, this is Yaldabaoth. So this is Yaldabaoth 5 cube. This is moon. This is sun. So here, this is Yaldabaoth's face. This is moon, and this is sun. You can see this star symbol here. This is lion's head, and this is moon. So far we discussed about Yaldabaoth, how created these seven archons and five lowly archons. Five lowly archons of the abyss. Archons of the abyss are nothing but he didn't quite create these on his own, because uh, why I say that is because we have to go little higher than the border of the heaven. Here you have Sophia 14 squared, fallen Sophia 13 squared. 14 squared is 196. You can say this border is around uh, 200. This border is around 200. 14 squared is 196. So 14 squared is little below the border basically, and this 15 squared tried to squeeze into this 14 squared below 200. He tried to squeeze below 200. 15 squared is 225. He tried to squeeze into this 14 square, as told in the story of Osiris and Set in Egyptian mythology. Osiris, who is the 15th letter of English alphabet, is O. So Osiris, O guy, the O guy, tried to squeeze into 14, and since he is bigger than 200, 225 in fact, so he failed to squeeze through this, and he split into 5 cubes, namely 1 2 3 4 5 cubes. So 5 cube is, that is how, though they say Sophia is the reason for the birth of Yaldabaoth, it is not entirely true, because Sophia was just instrumental in giving birth to Yaldabaoth. What happened was, this 15 squared guy wanted to enter the abyss, the 14 squared, and when he tried to enter 14 squared, this guy lost his was kind of his 15 square total quantity, and split up into 5 cubes. And 5 cube was the Yaldabaoth, 4 cube was sun, 3 cube was moon, 2 cube was air, 1 cube was fire. So it is not correct to say that Yaldabaoth created all of the seven archons and the five lowly abysmal archons, because Though he created rest of the archons, he did not create sun, moon. They are they were formed from 15 squared. 15 squared split into 5 cube, 4 cube, 3 cube, 2 cube, and 1 cube. So the thing is, Yalvath created rest of the archons except sun, moon, air, and fire. Rest of the archons he created. So now this is the O guy, and in the Hindu mythology, this is O, that is Osiris, and this is basically M, the letter M, that is 13 square. So O and M came together and created whom all these archons. Basically, not all these archons, sun, moon, uh, air, and fire. These five main archons they created, and Yaldabaoth, their eldest son, the eldest son of 15 square and 13 square is 5 cube. Yaldabaoth created rest of the planetary archons. That is why these sun and moon are not exactly planets. They are energy sources, but not planets. And similarly, fire and air are also not archons, though ether, water, earth are definitely archons. Anyway, so he he created these archons like they are his sons, and these are also his sons. Let us say he has to provide energy to the sons. How can he provide energy to these sons? He created man, kept the man in the earth. This is earth, Belias. Belias is earth. In this Belias is belly we call. So the kind of stomach of this system is Belias. In this Belias, he put man, and the man, as I told you, has far greater potential than he imagined. So, if this man escapes this system, then he cannot feed these archons. And how does he feed these archons? Through human beings. So, that is basically exactly the subject. After all, what is in it for archons? This is what is in it for archons. You and what does human farming in on earth so that the heaven supplies energy to humans. As far as heaven is concerned, it is supplying energy to keep humans alive here on earth. So, kind of he used human beings to draw energy from heaven and then feed on humans to keep these alive, archons alive and kicking. How does he do that? Something like When white light goes through a prism, it splits into seven colors, namely Vibgya, violet to red. Right? Same thing happens. The human body, I always tell you about the seven chakras and all that stuff, the yoga. Huh? So the human body, each part of human body corresponds to certain planet here. It represents certain planet here in the sense, and also these planets have qualities. What qualities? Let me enunciate. The Saturn's quality is deceit, Jupiter's quality is injustice, the Mars quality is wrath, Sun's quality is pride, Venus quality is lust, Mercury's quality is greed, Abel moon's quality is inconstancy. So what he cleverly did was he incorporated these qualities into human body, the different parts of human body. And when you are, for example, let us say, show the quality of deceit. When you deceive, you emit certain negative emotion. When you are deceiving somebody, you emit certain negative emotion. That negative emotion itself feeds this Saturn. Deceit. When people deceive, the Saturn feeds on their negative emotion. Similarly, if you resort to injustice, if you do injustice to others, then the Jupiter will feed on your negative emotions. Human beings produce emotions, whereas archons have no feelings, they have no empathy, they are kind of artificial intelligence. They are AI, in fact, artificial intelligence. So they don't have any feelings, they don't have any emotions. But the only thing they know is the only way they can survive is by feeding on the emotions of human being. So when the human being feels wrath, he is feeling Mars. When human being is feeling pride, he is feeling Sun. When human being is feeling lust, he is feeling Venus. When human being is feeling greed, he is feeding Mercury. When human being is feeling inconstancy, then he is feeding Moon. So, I think you got a good picture of what I have explained so far. The archons survive. You may have seen the movie Jupiter Rising. In that, a particular human being is selected as a conduit for Jupiter. So, similarly, and there is even one more movie, what do you call a comic hero movie, is called Shazam. Shazam. I like that movie very much because probably I like kids movies a lot. Mm, anyway, in that movie, it clearly shows that that may be just a make believe movie, but still, no other movie has shown the archons, how the archons are really. In that movie, he clearly shows the archons. Those are nothing but these archons. These seven planetary archons are the ones who rule the world, this reality. And in that movie, the end, greed was the main villain in that piece. I think greed tries to kill other archons or something like that, and then they all these other archons gobble him up. The main villain also. So even in Yiddish Jewish mythology, they have something called menorah. They have a candle stand which has seven arms. One, the central arm, three arms on each side, and a central arm little above them. And that menorah of the Jewish religion represents these seven archans. These seven archans, and the central one is the sun. Sun, and also it is surprising to surprise me to note that in the Jewish mythology there are seven archangels. Archangels, when we say, it is almost similar to archangels. Archangels are archangels. So the seven archangels, of the seven archangels, Michael is the sun, and each the rest of the six also correspond to each planet. The day of the week. The day there, that is why we have 7 days a week, and the Sabbath is on Sunday. That is the main archon, chief archon, or archangel Michael. You can say in that respect, Archangel Michael is sun. But there is also another what do you call menorah in Jewish religion, which has nine hands. In fact, nine candle stands, and one in center and four on each side. So, what does that represent? I think, as far as I am concerned, that represents here we have only till Saturn, and I think I have given you the split also. Yeah, 216 uh, is split into 2 to 66, that is Mercury to Neptune, right? But apart from that, we have another equation like fire, air, moon, sun, that is 1 cube, 2 cube, 3 cube, 4 cube, comprise 10, or 10 square or 100, and Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter till Saturn make up 100 again. Meaning, this is the actual, what do you call, menorah, temple menorah, you can say. Temple menorah has only seven hands. Seven in the sense these six and one sun in the center. Sun is main provider of the energy. So sun is at center, and these six planets, are planetary archons, are three on each side. Whereas when we come to this one, here we have 8 archons, 2 to 1 square to 8 square, we have 8 archons. So 4 on each side, and who supplies the energy to these archons? 8, meaning there will be an additional here. Somewhere here you have the what do you call Uranus, and here, excuse me, you have Neptune. So the Uranus and Neptune together, they form, along with the other archons, they form the 216. So what is this 216? Let us see. In mythology, we have a concept called Ouroboros. Ouroboros is a snake. It can be either like this or like this. This is more uh, popularly known, uh, po- popularly watched thing. This is the Ouroboros. Ouroboros is nothing but a snake eating its own tail. Snake in the form of a circle eating its own tail. And sometimes the same snake is represented like this, right? So, what is this? This is nothing but, see here, you have, sorry, here, I may not have shown it here, somewhere else it may be. Yeah, here you have, what is that? Ouroboros. Ouroboros is, in Gnostic terms, it is basically the universal soul. It is basically the life cycle, life and death, and self-sustained, self-sufficient. Self-sufficient in what sense? Meaning, in software we have a concept called open systems and closed systems. Java is open system in the sense Java can be written once you compile the code, you can run it anywhere. It is open. Whereas mainframes is a closed system. Mainframes cannot be accessed from other uh, what do you call operating systems. It needs its own setup, its own terminals. The terminals are in fact dumb. They don't have any brain at all. So it's a closed system. So Ouroboros is this kind of eight shape of eight, in which the snake is eating its own tail. I superimpose the same on the same figure here. This figure I see superimposed on in that on the Gnostic Cosmos slide. Okay, so this is the Ouroboros. Kind of, this is a closed system. It is closed. If you call this life, this is death. Yeah, this is because on death you go back to earth, fire, water, and all the these basic five panchabhutas or whatever you call. You go back to panchabhutas, and again they will be recycled. This is the soul will be recycled, right? So this is basically the cycle of life and death. 8 or the number 8 in its shape represents the cycle of life and death. But then, is it necessary? Actually, is it how we it is supposed to be? Why cannot it be an open system? Let us say, why the snake has to bite its own tail? It can just this whole tail part can be stretched and just there is no head, no tail. It can just be open like an open curve. It is also possible. Let us say the if the all the branches of menorah are instead of being curves, if you make them straight lines, even then it is safe. That what that literally means is that the removal of these archons. If you remove these seven planetary archons, then this earth will no more be in the abyss that we are in now, but this earth will be somewhere here. In the sense, if not in heaven, it will be on the border of heaven. Or if all these influences, these archons are straightened out, this snake, if you if you kill this snake, meaning killing the snake literally means doing away with death. So this 216 is basically 6 cube. 6 cube is Saturn. That is the Saturn is the highest here, right? So Saturn matrix. In the Saturn matrix, if you break this Saturn matrix, then you will have no death. Time and death are constructs of human beings created by Yalvat. If you don't have these archons restricting you and making you come back again and again into the same old life cycle, vicious cycle of 8. This 8 shaped cycle, eating its own tail. If you break out of this grid or matrix, Saturn matrix, then you will reach heaven. This is another way of putting the Gnostic cosmos in perspective, different perspective. I have always been telling you about this number 8 being infinity, symbol of infinity. You know, infinite, how infinity is. So, infinity symbol is a little different, but then it is almost like this. At least in infinity, you have a kind of one is complete loop circle, and the second part is broken, right? So this is broken part, this is the full part. So this is number 8 represents infinity. So this infinity is starts here and ends here. We all know that is not there is a lot more about this, but we know only from here to here, this region. So how to fight this? There is one more popular example. which is when you are in a room with a radio, you are tuning to one particular station, right? Let us say BBC, you are tuning to BBC, but around you there are radio waves, the frequencies of all other radios are also all around you, but you are tuning to only BBC. They exactly mean that doesn't mean that there are no other radios other than BBC. You chose to tune to BBC, so you are listening only to BBC. Similarly, there is whole lot of far bigger universe here, starting here, far smaller universes below this. You cannot see or experience these dimensions or these dimensions. You are stipulated to this frequency, from here to here only. You cannot go anywhere else. You cannot experience anything outside this frequency, beyond this frequency, and below this frequency. That is how this Ouroboros or life cycle of life and death works. Okay, so yeah, that's how the cycle of life and death, the Ouroboros or number 8 works. So yeah, and then I think the video is getting very long. So let us, unless I have anything more to add, I want to finish the video now. Yeah, how to, the most important thing of all, I actually forgot. Let us say how to break out of this prison of this Ouroboros. The only way is when the humans on earth, the Belias, are basically the heaven supplies energy to humans with the hope that the humans will evolve and ultimately this Ouroboros is broken, the in vicious circle is broken and they join the source. That is the ultimate aim of Gnostic philosophy, right? The resurrection of Sophia, right? Sophia should get back to heaven. That is ultimate aim. And for that, Christ comes down and takes her back to heaven. So, how does that happen? I told you, heaven with a good intention of breaking this vicious circle, the matrix or grid, certain grid, it is supplying energy to human beings. And what this guy is doing, why he is uh, forming humans, is he is inducing all these negative qualities, deceit, injustice, wrath, pride, lust, greed, inconstancy. Through these qualities, bad qualities, negative emotions are developed in human beings. Those negative emotions have exactly these frequencies. When the man experiences negative emotions, these archons, planetary archons, feed on his negative emotions, which emotion being clearly mentioned here: 6 squared, 5 squared, 4 squared, like that. So, those emotions, the archons are surviving on those emotions, negative emotions. So, what would be the solution? When in Jewish philosophy or Kabbalah, there are 10 qualities of God. God is nothing but the combination of good qualities. Saturn, on the other hand, or whoever is the Lucifer, Saturn, or Yalabad, they are representation of the bad qualities. I already explained about bad qualities, but I didn't explain about the good qualities. In fact, the most important of Gnostic philosophy is the good qualities. Is what comprises pleroma, plenty. Pleroma means plenty. So this is the pleroma, upper ions. So basically, Gnostic philosophy talks about ions, right? The source, the God, the monad, the mother, the child, Christ, and apart from them, we have 12 ions. Each has a leader. 12 ions in the sense, the what if you note the names of these ions, they are nothing but the good qualities. So, if you look at this, grace is one quality, truth is another quality, form is another quality. These are all good qualities. Their leader is Hermosa. Similarly, Lilith is leader of perfection, peace, wisdom. So, these are the good qualities: perfection, peace, wisdom. Here, Orion is leader of afterthought, perception, memory. These are all good qualities, mind you. Devyatsu Tai is leader of intelligence, love, and idea, meaning these are the good qualities. So, all these good qualities, there are around, in fact, 12 good qualities, and these 12 good qualities can counter, in fact, 12 bad qualities. What are the 12 bad qualities? These are the 7 planetary archons qualities. Just now I mentioned, like deceit and injustice and all, etc. And there are 5 other archons of the abyss qualities. These 12 qualities offset these qualities. So, what is the solution? I hope you're getting where I am going with this. The solution is to develop these good qualities of heaven, pleroma. Then what happens is, if the man on earth, the earthly man, develops these qualities, then these archons will be deprived of their food. They will become weak and weak, weaker and weaker, and ultimately the snake which is holding them together, the 216, the head, a snake eating its own tail, will give up. Like now it is like this. Slowly, this this wrinkle will give way if the pressure on these sides increases. It will become circle at one time, and later the tail will come out of mouth, and the head will be here, tail will be here. It will be a straight. It will become straight, and it will no more hold the our reality. So I hope you understood the solution. This is most important part of video. We should pay more attention. When I say, people say you are telling this will happen, that will happen, but what we are supposed to do, what we should do, then the ultimate goal is to kill this snake, this grid, break this grid slowly. In the sense, once you develop these qualities, good qualities, then these organs will become weak, and they cannot maintain this 216. In the sense, this snake will loosen its coils, and it becomes a kind of a circle, and then it will flatten out. I mean, eventually it will die, and the all of the human beings, all of the souls, entrapped souls entrapped in this snake's coils, will be released and join source once again. So develop good qualities and don't indulge in any of these bad qualities listed here, so that you can break this grid. That's the only way to break the grid and join the source. Thank you very much for watching the video. That's pretty much what I wanted to tell. Thank you.